Okay, so today we're going to be making Filipino Beef Steak. So here is pork butt. I'm using pork butt because we don't have beef right now, and to be honest, I like the pork one better. So we have pork butt right here. It's a little hard, so we're going to let it thaw for a little bit more. Since we're making a very small portion, I'm just going to put 1/16 soy sauce. This one may be a little bit more of 1/8 because, I don't know, 1/16 just seems a really little. So there. For the lemon, I don't have lemon right now. If you do, it would be 1/4 of a lemon or 3/4 Calamansi, which is, I guess you could put around 2 Calamansis. So I just use lemon juice since I don't have any of those, and I'm just going to put 1/16 as well. And then 1/8 teaspoon of ground black pepper. Now we can just stir this. And then we're going to be putting the raw meat in here for a marinade. So let's cut up the meat. So I was cutting this meat and I wanted to show you guys how well this as seen on TV knife set really works. Blade free, that's what it's called. I keep forgetting, but see this meat? It's a little hard and frozen still, but it cuts so well. Wait, I can't really... Yeah, I'm holding the camera, so it's kind of hard to cut, but let's see. There we go. Amazing! And I like how it really just cuts so smoothly. You won't see any like ridges or anything. Cool! So you're gonna cut this pork into around 1-inch cubes. So what I do is cut the pork in half, and then with half of the stack I cut it into 3s. Like so. And then I turn it to the side, downward like cubes. You'll have a bunch of cubes like so. Then just put it into your marinade. Just gonna mix it well so all the meat gets the marinade on it. Okay, so mix it well, and if you have a lot of sauce left, that's okay because that's the delicious part. That's the part that's gonna be sauce when you cook it later. Okay, so let this sit for about an hour, and you could cover it with saran wrap. Okay, so let's cut the onions. I'm using red onions, but you could also use white onions if you'd like. I think red onions just makes it a little more sweeter, and it balances out the soy sauce and the saltiness. So let's cut off the edges like so, and then cut off the others. And then just peel away the outer layer. Okay, so I peeled away the outer layer. Now you can just slice it in half. The recipe requires for 1/4 just because I made a small batch, but I'm just gonna make maybe a whole onion just because we like onions, so I'm just gonna put the whole thing. And make sure you just take out the inside cores right here. And make sure not to cry. This part is when I started to tear up. But there you have it. And then you could just continue to cut them into rings. You could have cut them like this and just cut them straight into a circle like a real ring. But I prefer them cut smaller in half. So that's how I'm going to do it. Okay, so this is what the ring would look like. And this is how I cut mine. Now let's heat up the oil in the pan. Once the pan is hot, you can begin to put some oil. Put about 3/4 tablespoon of oil. I just eyeball it real quick. Spread the oil out just because I like to. And then just wait a little bit till your pan and your oil is nice and hot before you drop in your onions. Okay, once the oil is nice and hot, we can go ahead and put in our onions. Mix it. Smells good. Or should we say masarap? Just tap the onions a little bit just to break them apart. See how they come apart? Because they're a little bit stuck. So we're just going to want to make them soft. It smells so good. I love the smell of onions cooking. Doesn't it just call you when your mom or dad is making this? Used to call me when I was little. Ooh, smells so good. They should make a candle like this. If you know the smell I'm talking about, thumbs up. If you don't, go make some onions, put some oil in a pan, raw onions, and smell that. Okay, so that was about 5 minutes. I kind of like mine a little crunchy still, so I'm going to stop it at that. But you can cook it longer if you like them more soft. So let's just put this in a plate or bowl and just set it aside. Oh, yum! And now with our marinated meat that we have over here, we're going to just put it into the same pan that we cooked the onion in. No oil extra or anything like that. You're going to want to put just the meat without the marinade sauce yet. Like I said earlier, we're going to be using that later on. So my spoon has holes. Very convenient because I don't want any sauce. So see, just take the meat and add it to your pan. Okay, so we have all the meat in the pan. Let's just spread this out. And cook this until it's brown and the meat is tender. As you can see, this is the raw meat. It's pink and it's getting nice and brown. Okay, so I cooked it at medium-high heat, about 5 minutes, and it's brown, a little tender, but we're going to make it more tender later on with the sauce. So let's just set this aside already. You can put it in the same plate that you have the onions in already. So let's transfer it. Okay, so I have the meat there. My pan's clear. Now we're going to want to put in garlic. You can put 2 cloves, crushed cloves. I don't have any cloves at the moment, so I'm going to just be using pre-crushed cloves. I'm going to use about half a tablespoon. So let's mix that as well. Saute the garlic for a few minutes, and then once it's done, go ahead and put in the rest of your marinade. Bring that to a boil, and now you can put in your meat. There's all the meat. If you want, you could separate the meat and the onions in 2 separate bowls, just so it's easier when you just dump it in. The only thing I didn't do it is because I don't like wasting dishes. So I just put them together, and then now we're going to let it simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. You can put a little water if you'd like as well, and then just put a top over it, and then we're going to let it simmer. We're going to want to check on it every few minutes just to make sure that the meat doesn't stick to the bottom. Muy masarap again. Well, of course with more of an accent, but You know what I mean. Looking delish. And of course, if you guys want more sauce, more of a soupy kind, you would add more marinade in the beginning. But I like mine just semi-saucy, not too saucy. And I like my sauce thick. So there it is. Let's just cook it a little bit longer just because I like my meat soft. And a little more burnt. So let's cook that a little longer. Okay, so it's been cooking for about 20 minutes and it's not as soft as I would like. If you guys like it a little more on the rough side of your meat, then you could go ahead and put your onions and stop now. But what I'm going to do is cook it a little bit longer and add my onions in right now just so it can get a little more flavor. So I've added the onions. I'm just going to cook it for a little longer just so I can get the meat how I like it. And I'm going to put the onions in just so the onions can soak up the flavor of the marinade as well. So I'll just mix all that up. Then I'm going to cover it and let it simmer for a little longer. So it's been about 30 minutes, and I think the meat is how I like it. That's how it looks like, guys. Delish! There, and I put it on some rice. Delicious Filipino Beef Steak. Tell me what's your favorite Filipino food, and maybe I'll make it. Thanks, guys. Bye.